Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing, single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebar2go.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we talk about the U.S. presidents that drank whiskey. My name is Miss Beka Sue. Please join me in welcoming my co-host, Steve Akeley, as well as our special guests, Darren McElroy, Lucatero, and Royce Neely.
Hey gang, what's up?
Hey everybody.
Hey-oh, so yeah, we're going to be talking today, just to inform you guys, who were whiskey drinkers. And it's not a lot. So, of course, we are on, right now, president number 47, and looks like we've got 5 whiskey drinkers out of all the individuals that have ever held the office of the president of the United States. But we're going to talk about, how do they like to drink it? Was it a specific cocktail? Was it neat? That type of thing. We'll get to that after the break. For right now, though, we're going to go to the to the box, we're going to pick a random question here out of the box. So let's see what we got here. All right, there you go. What was your best subject in school? What was your best subject in school?
Ooh.
This is going to be an easy one, I think.
Yeah. Mine was 110% science. That was science. And English was my worst. That was
okay.
But that was mostly my mentality. I used to play this game in English. I thought I was cool shit. I wasn't. I know this. We don't have to go over this. I've since realized this. And now I know I'm cool shit, but I wasn't back then.
Okay.
But I would flip a coin on whether I'd write a paper or not. And that's what I would let decide if I did anything. And I was like, oh, I'm going to flip this coin and stick by whatever it says. And that was not great for me. That was stupid.
Your mother and 2 sisters, and your sisters are somewhat older, so they have almost a caretaker relationship. They're not your mother, obviously, but they were that much older. The fact that you're not turning in school assignments floors me. I wouldn't think you'd have any levity there at all.
Literally, my mom still gives me shit about it. So,
okay. I would think, you could do it, you just don't turn it in. But then I would think there'd be the wrath of the trio that would.
Yeah. Good thing was my sisters were both figuring out how to be married about this time and figuring out how to raise kids. So they were a little bit distracted. So I only had to get through one.
Okay.
And I did that somehow.
Okay. Luke, what was your best subject in school?
I'd have to say U.S. history, world history, and just because I think it connected to all the politics, which runs in my blood, it seems like, and so fairly good about all that, and did pretty well. I did pretty well in school anyway, but history was
interesting.
History was my favorite.
Okay. All right, Beka.
I think I was pretty even with both history and science. I think I did a little bit better in science. My worst was math. Math was not. I was never good at math at all, and I actually did okay in English as well. But it kind of just depended on what we were doing. But I think science was definitely my best one that I had. But I also had a really good science teacher
Mm-hmm.
And so,
That
like,
helps.
that
You
made-
get the right teacher. It's huge.
Yeah, we had a really good Mrs. Redding. She was a great science teacher. She loved our class, and she made it like I don't even say it was fun. She was just good at what she did. Where the school I went to, I had a private school, but I feel like every single math teacher that they had, for the most part, until like my last 2 years, they just had really, really bad like math teachers who
Right.
it was like it was they weren't good at explaining things.
They tend to be a little strange, math teachers.
Yeah, they weren't
that's
good
universal.
math teachers. Mr. Durden was a idiot. We got Mr. Durden fired because he was
Mr. Turden.
yeah, he was just we had a whole book of Durdenisms because he would just say all this crazy shit all the time.
Right.
We got 2 math teachers fired from our school.
Oh,
because
there you go.
They weren't very good people in general, and then we finally got one that was decent. But at that point, I was too far gone in learning math. So thank God that calculators are. Really
Mr. Bolhoffner used to allow you to look into the grade book. You just want to check out where you're at. And everything was written in pencil. You could erase it and change your grades. That was the best math I ever did, was in Mr. Bolhoffner's class. So, yeah. Yeah, I was pretty good in that one. It was weird how I was bad in math before that and then after that. But
it is weird. It
did really
shows
good.
you the power of showing someone their grade and
Right.
really letting them work and get better.
We
That's
had it
why,
down.
right?
There was a whole crew of us that did this. When it was my turn to change my grades, the group would go out and approach them, and they have all these questions and surround them, and they ask them a bunch of stuff, and I'd be changing that. And then it might be Tim's turn tomorrow. My buddy Tim Barton, he's going to fix his. Yeah. I mean, there's a system to this. So, and these are life skills you're learning. How to overcome obstacles and succeed, and work as a team. There was some teamwork there. So, yeah, I learned a lot from that type of stuff. So, yeah. Royce, how about you? Best subject in school?
Well, you said what, ACT?
Just your best
Just
That's
something.
what I'm saying.
subject in school.
Darren, you had that, right? Like
Yeah, ACT is the test.
That's
that
what
you
I
take.
said, the ACT. I didn't, Akeley, did you have the ACT?
Yeah. Yes.
I didn't know. I know the SAT was around for a long time. I didn't know when the ACT was.
ACT is what we did. Yeah.
Okay, all
Getting
right.
to
So I had a
college.
31 on the ACT.
Whoa.
What was your best
There you go.
subject?
Yeah, it was science and
There you go.
history,
History, science, and history.
both together. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know if you what. I knew Darren probably had it on there, but
Yeah.
you have that fucking CATS testing too. CATS, the CATS testing.
Nope.
You have that, Darren. I had
That was not something I took. I only took an ACT, and I only took it once. Got the score I needed to automatically qualify for the scholarship, and my mom tried to force me to take it again. I filled in the same bubble every single time, and I was done early. Let's
Yeah,
just
I
say
did
that.
the. I never did the SAT, but I did the ACT, and I plummeted the first time, like real bad, like 17 or something. Like,
Whoa.
you actually answer like all C's and get through it. And then the second time I did it, I was more prepared for it. But the main thing was that goddamn calculator. As long as you know the calculator, you can do all right. Math was always been my worst subject. It still is today. Math is my worst subject.
Okay.
So Luke, if I send you the wrong invoice, it's not me.
It's not him. That's
brain.
not him.
It's my brain, Luke. It's my
His
brain.
brain.
Not attached to him. His brain's not attached.
Yeah.
Right.
The
Make
War
sure Lucas.
Department.
Make sure Lucas cross checks me.
Yeah, that's it. Lucas doesn't do that. The War Department does that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not me, Luke. It happens.
Yeah.
So we real quick story about. I guess we all have problems with math, but we had a retailer just sent us a check, and they made it out for $89,000.
Oh, geez. That's a
That
win.
one.
That's a win.
Yeah, just this past week, and so it was not. I mean, it should have been $8,900, but anyway,
Sure.
I think we all have problems with.
I
math,
could write
so.
you a check for $89,000. I mean, it wouldn't cash, but I mean, I could physically bounce.
But the War Department caught that immediately, and
Whoa.
yeah, she cross checks everything, Royce.
Moved it to the offshore account, and you're good.
Yeah.
To go. You're good to go.
Yeah,
And the
it's
good
just me,
news
look,
there is she likes Beka a lot. She thinks Beka's
That's
really
good.
nice and very pretty.
Okay.
Well, that's
there
good
you go.
too. It's just me up there, Luke. When I send out, that's just me up there, buddy. On the,
Okay.
I ain't
I'll
got
let,
an
I'll,
entire
I'll let,
staff
I'll
or
let
nothing
her
else.
know that.
Let her
Yeah,
know.
it's just me, man. So if something comes in wrong, just don't crucify me or nothing. Just let me know, and we'll change her up, and we'll move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll hear from her, Royce, not me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There you go. My best subject, the one I never had a problem with, didn't even realize I was good at it, but it was just easy for me, was English. I was always good at writer.
Could have told you that.
Writer. Yeah, just writing.
You're a fantastic
So,
writer, Akeley.
yeah, so that was always just easy for me, and had fun with it. And I even completed my first ever English assignment, which was a one-page story written in kid handwriting, which is pretty big. Just one page, one side, a story called The Legend of Bear Island. I wrote that in either second or third grade, and then always remembered that. And then I finished that as an adult as a short story, which is kind of cool. So, and got everything in there that I wanted. So, yeah.
I'll tell you guys, full transparency, since 2018, since I met Akeley, every single label I've ever done, I always send over to Steve Akeley to proofread for me before it goes in to be in print. That's that, Akeley.
Right?
Every single
Yeah.
one. I'm like, here's what I think. Let me know what you think, buddy. Did I write this up right?
Yep, I can confirm. I've seen you call him and be like, "Hey, Steve, I need you to check this for me." I've seen it happen.
Every one, Darren. I always trust Steve Akeley. So anything that's fucked up, it's Akeley's fault.
And see, that's why you really do it.
Always.
I'm big into making sure that you maintain the voice of the writer. I think that's important to me. It's more important to me sometimes than the rules if it is speaking as you want to speak. So I'm always careful with that too. I want to make sure that you don't over English it. You don't get where the punctuation takes away from what you're trying to say. So I try to do you right with those things. So hopefully you're happy with how the labels turn out.
Buddy, they're selling, so it's doing just fine.
There you go. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. All right. On that note, guess what, gang? It's time to drink. What is everyone drinking? I get to go first this time. I've got JD 14. Yeah, that's right. Jack Daniel's 14 here. This one.
Wow.
They've got 3 age stated products now, a 10, a 12, and this one. So the 10 is at 97 proof, the 12's at 107, and then this one is at cast strength or batch strength, I guess I should say, 126.3. This is fantastic. This might be the greatest product they've ever created. It is so good. I can't say enough good things about it, and thanks to JD for sending this to me. Let's see what we got here. Wow, that was squeaky, but man, that was explosive.
Good.
That cork pop was dynamite. Good luck beating that one. You might deduct a little bit for the squeak. I get it because it was a bad start, but
There
man,
was a squeak.
it delivered on the pop though. So yeah. All right, looks like Luke's ready to go, so we'll have him go next.
Well, I've got the Jack Daniel's 12-year-old.
Oh, nice.
I don't expect much because it's a
More than
well-loved
halfway
bottle,
gone. Yeah.
but it's good juice. Nope.
Okay. No, nothing going on there in terms of the cork pop. Good whiskey though. Yeah. JD's killing it. They're doing some great stuff. All right, Darren, what do you got there, man?
I have a Yellowstone single barrel of their American single malt whiskey that I picked up at the distillery.
Okay. Okay. No, nothing going on there. Beka?
All right. I have got some Maker's Mark. This is the SE4 times PR5.
You gotta love those names they got.
Yeah, really quick saying that one. It's I should have just said this.
Oh, that's
is
my favorite.
a
I love the SR4
2020 limited
P15.
release
Yeah.
wood finishing series.
Okay. Little known fact that is actually named by Andrew Webrink because Jane Bowie decided to use whatever the code was that he had for each of the samples, and so that's how that comes out the name. She's just like, that's what.
Of course, Andrew Webrink would be the reason why something's so fucking annoying. It only makes sense.
Yeah. God forbid he has like a cool name that gives us any insight.
Yeah, he could have done something so cool there. Named it like something awesome, like all of his samples or something really cool. He's like a fucking dork about it.
Yeah, it could be, if it's like butterscotch notes, it could be like BCTCH or something like that. Oh, it's the B Scotch 12 or something. No, he comes with this name that means nothing.
SE4 times PR5.
I bet he doesn't even know what they mean.
Webrink. Most unheralded guy in
probably
bourbon, though. He's a guy most people don't know. Our crew knows who Webrink is.
Oh,
most
yeah.
people don't know who he is, and he's a big deal in the world of bourbon for sure.
Was it RC5 Akeley? One of the best pours ever.
Oh yeah,
RC6. Sorry, RC6.
RC6. Yes. Don't get confused with 5. 5 was terrible.
Sorry.
6
5
was the-
sucked.
5 sucked.
didn't even
6
touch
is
it.
excellent. Royce, you playing here? He left for a minute, but he's back.
Oh, I was outside pissing
You
off the
open your
balcony.
bottle.
Oh, this one. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Pissing off the balcony. That's always good. People driving by on the highway there.
Yeah. Well,
Waving
Becca
to the
made me
neighbors.
leave, so,
Yeah.
all right. Let's see what I got here.
Okay.
I didn't make you leave.
You made me leave. You said go outside.
No, I didn't. I said get rid of the fucking cigar.
She made me exactly. So I had this cigar, this nice Monte Cristo. I had to throw it off the deck. And
You
I had
loved
to
it,
piss
too.
when I was out there. So I said, all right, I'll see you when I get back in. So here I am, Akeley. I'm back in now.
Okay. All
Tell
right,
me
go
how it
ahead.
is, honey.
And you just did.
Don't you be terrible about it. So, the Neely's Wormwood Absinthe.
Okay. Okay. No, not enough. Not enough. Cheers to me on the win there. Cheers.
Typical.
Cheers.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking about U.S. presidents and their love for whiskey. We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Speaking of executive bourbon steward certification, the ABV Barrel Shop in St. Louis, Missouri has developed a unique partnership with the Stave and Thief Society to offer a preparatory class to assist you in getting your executive bourbon steward certification. This prep class costs only $25 and is available to take live or online via Zoom. Graduates of our class receive a coupon code good for 15% off your executive bourbon steward certification held in Louisville, Kentucky. This saves you almost $90. Additionally, you can collaborate with fellow attendees to split travel costs when you go to Louisville. If you're interested in signing up for the class, simply head over to abvbarrelshop.com and check out the classes and events page. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in the spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com. And now, back to the show. Solid cork pop.
And then I threw the cork.
Solid cork drop.
Yeah, terrible cork prop. Hello, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, and you are listening to the Bourbon Daily. I'm a big bourbon guy.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking about U.S. presidents.
Yes, we are. So, as we know, number presidents up to 47. There are 45 individuals, though. So Grover Cleveland and Trump, of course, have two different numbers because they weren't consecutive in their terms. So there's 45 people, and only 5 of them through the course of history have been whiskey drinkers to date. So here are our 5 and how they like to drink their whiskey. First one on the board, Teddy Roosevelt. And he liked a good mint julep. So, and I think he drank quite a few of them. So this wasn't like an occasional treat. I think he was a regular mint julep drinker. you got to kind of love Teddy Roosevelt. I remember on a Flag Day, he saw someone disrespecting the flag as he's president of the United States, by the way. He goes over with his cane and starts hitting the guy. And the guy was like, wait, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. And then, And then Teddy Roosevelt gave him one last one just because he got him angry. So he gave him, even though he knew that he was actually the wrong, he had made a mistake, he gave him an extra lick of that stick for just because it made him. And you couldn't get away with nothing like that now. Any president striking someone, my God, but Teddy Roosevelt, back in the day,
they just can't.
I must admit, I do like a good mint julep myself.
Yeah.
I would definitely share a mint julep with Teddy Roosevelt. I'd be down.
A good mint julep is
And
nice.
I agree. If you disrespect the flag, you ought to get a nice ass whipping.
Right, exactly. Well, that's what Teddy. That's how he handled it. He didn't call any marshals or anything like that. He just handled it right himself. He's walking down the street, sees someone.
He was a badass.
I don't care what side you're on. You don't disrespect the flag. People die for the flag. You get your ass whipping.
Yeah, well, that's what Teddy did, and he didn't get any trouble for it either. He got zero trouble for that. Yeah. Those are the days when people were like, "Well, fuck, you deserved it. You disrespect the flag, you're gonna get your ass beat."
Gosh, dude. Yeah, exactly.
So, crazy. Next one, Missouri's only contribution in terms of U.S. presidents, Harry S. Truman, and he was the true whiskey drinker out of the group.
I was gonna say
he's the only one. Yeah, so he enjoyed a shot of bourbon when he would take a morning walk. He'd call it the heart starter. He'd take a shot of bourbon to get him motivated to go out there and walk, and then in the evenings he would always have a couple old fashions, and famously. Not much sugar in there. He basically just wanted bourbon on ice is what he wanted. Yeah. So he was famous for his old fashions, and they had to. He and his wife Bess loved him, and they would have to then train anybody that was new on the staff that would make them because they'd always, they'd muddle in the sugar and then put in the bitters and all that, and they'd be like, no, cut that back, just more whiskey. So pretty cool. Andrew Jackson, old hickory. So, one of the toughest, most rough and tumble presidents we ever had. This is interesting. He liked a whiskey punch. So you think it's like high C and whiskey is basically what he wanted in the old punch bowl. And so that's kind of funny. So.
Out of all the presidents, if you said one of them liked whiskey punch, Andrew Jackson would not have been my answer. I would have lost money on that bet.
Right. So, of course, there's a brand of whiskey named after him, Old Hickory. So that was a classic historical brand. Now, somebody may make it today still. I don't know, but it would be a revived one. It was an old time one that was pretty popular back in the day. Old Hickory. Our last two are both Scotch and soda drinkers. So Lyndon Johnson from Texas, of course, Scotch and soda, and then Woodrow Wilson also was a Scotch and soda guy. So not even American whiskey. So that's kind of unfortunate. So we had three that were really out of all the 45 people that have been president that were true American whiskey drinkers, and only one was drinking it neat, and that was Harry Truman.
What about Ulysses S. Grant?
Oh yeah, how did I forget him? He was on my list. Yes,
I literally was looking at it earlier, and I was
he's
like,
the true
"Why
bourbon
is
drinker."
Ulysses not on here?"
Miss O'Crow herself. Here she is, Miss O'Crow. She's got it.
Yeah.
And Royce just said it too, and I
was
was thinking Ulysses, and he kept saying Grant, and I was like Grant, and I was like, we're saying the exact same fucking thing.
Right. Yeah.
But I was thinking Ulysses. And
Grant
and
he famously would get overserved, and then so much so that people went to Lincoln and said, "Hey, he's drinking too much." And of course, he was having all these great successes on the war field. And Lincoln
Listen
said,
to this.
I'd like to get a barrel of that for everybody if that's the case. Yeah.
Listen.
Grant's Missouri, right, Akeley?
Yes, yeah. His wife is from Missouri. He wasn't born here. He lived here quite a bit. He was also general, here, and So and actually,
Frank Akeley, one of the best generals of all time.
Yeah,
so,
you're talking about a tactician.
Listen to this stuff.
Unbelievable general.
Listen to this stuff that when you type into Google, there's first the AI generated stuff that pops up. This is what it says about Grant and his drinking when you type it in on Google and it gives you the AI search. Yes, Ulysses S. Grant drank alcohol during the Civil War, but he was able to control his drinking and it didn't negatively impact his performance. Is the first thing it said. Right. And then it says explanation. And this is what's funny for what it said on that first part. So Grant was an occasional binge drinker, but he wasn't an alcoholic in the sense of being unable to control his drinking. He resigned from the army in 1854 due to excessive drinking. So
those sentences don't work together.
Those are kind of contradictory there.
Yeah.
Right.
Grant was a fucking degenerate. We all know he was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then it says
He won the war, so it's all cool.
It says he promised his chief of staff that he wouldn't drink during the Civil War, but he struggled with this.
Yeah.
It's funny because Robert E. Lee never drank anything at all. He was a teetotaler.
He was a teetotaler, huh? Yeah.
Hey, Steve, what about George Washington?
He really was not a drinker of that. He drank. He made it.
Right?
He
He
made
made
it,
it, but he didn't
but he
drink
wasn't
it.
really a whiskey
As far
drinker.
as I know about Washington, he didn't drink at all. He just made whiskey and he gave whiskey to his soldiers. He was big for the what's it called? The cherry bounce.
Yes, exactly.
Washington
He liked the
cherry
cherry bounce. Cherry bounce was his thing,
Keep his
and that and
soldiers
brandy. He
warm.
liked brandy and cherry bounce.
Yep.
So.
Keep
Ah.
his soldiers warm during the cold months.
It is funny. One of the additional information AI things on here, it
Big,
says
big tobacco smoker though, Washington. I don't know much about the alcohol, but definitely smoked a lot of tobacco.
one of the additional things on here, it does say Grant is believed to have favored Old Crow.
Yeah,
That's one of the.
Yeah.
That's the only
that's-
thing
that's
it
for
references on here for
Grant
what
said-
he
I
drank.
can't believe he probably drank
Yeah,
more than
yeah,
any other
real
U.S.
low
president.
post
Maybe
came out
more than all
before, I think.
combined that are on our
But
list.
did he actually drink as a president, or did he just drink as a general? And he had
No.
stopped by
Drank.
then.
He was
Is that-
he was still drinking as a president. So.
Okay,
Basically, he
I
had
just
like a
didn't know the
barrel
answer to
of
that.
Oak into him, right?
Oh yeah,
Oak
yeah,
Crow? That's what I thought. Yeah.
yeah.
I can't believe that one got missed.
I can't believe it either because
Yeah.
he is a notorious drinker, but a good man. And in reality, he got some heat while he was in office too, being like he's a drunk and all that. But in reality, he was also too. He believed in people and kind of gave them enough rope to hang themselves. And in some cases they did, of course, so there were some scandals and stuff like that that were under his control that involved whiskey. And, but he even took care of those. What he did, Grant famously, the federal trials, he had them done in St. Louis. Well, Grant is a legend in St. Louis. He actually testified. He had that guy Orville Babcock that was part of the whiskey trust thing that was going on while Grant was.
Oh,
in-
that's right.
yeah. But Grant sets it up for the trial to be in St. Louis. He testifies on behalf of Orville Babcock. Well, in St. Louis, they love him. He lived there.
Yeah.
He still has a house. He has a house in St. Louis to this day, by the way. And of course, he was stationed at Jefferson Barracks, which is really close to my house. So he's from this area. They let Babcock off. So all these guys that went under trial, they didn't get any heat or anything
Grant's
like
the
that.
most famous person from your state.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Grant. He's huge here, so yeah, for sure. We have Grant's Farm too.
Well, he was
which
the
is-
president, so
Well, no, main thing is he led the country through Reconstruction, so that's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. So, but those are
Even
our
though I'm from
those
the
are our
South,
whiskey
so fucking,
drinkers.
but yeah.
yeah. But the president that made more whiskey than anybody would be Washington, though. He was actually a distiller of some one of the largest distilleries in the country, making rye whiskey under his watch. But again, he wasn't necessarily a drinker.
And
of
apple
that.
brandy, and
Yeah.
he actually took
Eggnog. He liked eggnog.
Well, he took him through the Whiskey Rebellion out of Pennsylvania. That was
Yeah.
Washington. Dealt with all that. So
Yeah.
Well, if I had to characterize myself, I'd be more Truman-esque. I would have the the straight whiskey, and then I do like my old fashions
Old fashions are good. Yeah.
with not much. I mean, it's probably a whisper of Demerara syrup, but that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Akeley knows this, and I mean, this is one of our main reasons why me and Steve Akeley openly love Key West.
Right.
Key West is fantastic.
Mhm.
We're
I
gonna
had
retire
never heard
there,
that.
We're trying to live there. But one of the biggest parts about it is Truman in Key West.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the little White House and,
Yeah.
the poker table and the Truman Heart Starter. I mean, all
Right.
of it's absolutely fantastic. But the fact that he was probably down there when he said, hey, we're going to drop the bomb
Right.
on Japan.
He spent a lot of time down there, and
man, unbelievable.
What was different too, and again, is a Democratic president. Now, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you fall, because what he would do is he'd invite both sides of the aisle to come down and play poker. Probably a lot of the legislation and things like that they did, and Luke can certainly appreciate this being part of the legislative process. You get together with both sides and just talk about things in an informal way while you're playing cards. That's how you're going to solve things. Not this fighting like we see today. That doesn't resolve anything.
It's old school, man. Like, might be two different sides, but back then it's what's for the better good. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And he did that. And he was he made a hard, tough decision, and he did it.
Yeah.
Well, in today's world, it really isn't much different. If people come together with that type of attitude, and for me, I've been able to survive 38 years doing this, being in the middle and finding that good, like Royce just said, find what's best for New Mexico and go from there. So
right. That's key.
I have a question, and I think I know the answer, but I want to hear everyone else's opinion on that. So we know there was only 5 that really drank whiskey. 6, because we're going to include Grant, because he drank it too. Number 1. What do you think most presidents drink? Do you think, I think there's one of 2 answers. Did most of them just not drink, or did most of them drink wine? I think those are the...
beer. I think there's a lot of beer drinkers in there.
Yeah, I'd say probably beer.
Kennedy drank Irish whiskey.
Okay.
Makes sense. No.
I'm actually really confounded by the fact that Trump has never drank in his life. That's a very impressive thing for me.
Yeah. I guess his brother was an alcoholic, and his brother encouraged him not to don't fall victim to what I've got. So
I guess he really respected his brother, and his brother was an alcoholic.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that
it is really
never drink at all.
Especially for Trump being.
Yeah, but there's probably a lot of beer drinkers there.
I think beer is probably.
Yeah, I had totally forgotten about beer, and as soon as I stopped talking, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. But back to Truman, he toured that little White House. It's fantastic. You get to see. He was big into not being political down there. You're not wearing suits. You're not wearing any. You're wearing Hawaiian shirts, and you're playing poker. We saw the poker table. I mean, you wonder how many deals, Royce, were bartered over playing card games on that very poker table that's down there to this day.
It's so cool, man. When you look at that, I mean, all around the world, like what other politicians were there, sitting there, mashing it out over a card game.
Yeah. Imagine
it's the right place to do it at too.
Right.
That's why I love. I mean, so many.
Royce and I have seen this. We've put together deals for our respective companies at playing cards at Bourbon's Bistro. You see how it goes.
Dude, we're talking about shaping history at that card table.
Yeah.
You and me are shaping a couple of small time companies, which is cool for us.
Right.
We're talking about shaping history there. I mean, the man probably thought up, hey man, we're gonna drop the atomic bomb.
Right.
It probably happened there.
Yeah.
To be a poker chip at that table would be cool, though. Like to hear all the stories of what was discussed there.
I mean, whether it was not the atomic bomb, he was definitely talking about World War II and what was going to happen.
Well, sure.
He had to make big time decisions there.
Yeah.
One of the best books I read was the Book of Truman by David McCullough. Mm-hmm. And what you talk about a short period of time of history that changed the world to how we're living now. You can sense it, and it kind of goes about what we're talking about now. Whether it was done in Key West or was done in Camp David, it really didn't matter. I mean, in a short period of time, things were changing, and Truman and whoever he was working with made the change. So,
it's the greatest decision in humanity so far to use that, because it had never been done before. It hasn't been done since. And it shapes everything, because nowhere in history has anybody ever been able to destroy an entire city at one time.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big, major deal. And the fact even today, the U.S. is the only country that's ever used it. I mean, it's a major thing.
Thank God.
Yeah, and Truman, you had to have the right person in the job, and Truman was that guy.
I know they threw out the flyers ahead of time to tell people to leave. They, done all that stuff, but still, it's a major decision to make. I mean, you're affecting a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you lay down at night, you have to think about that.
Truman, to his credit, didn't want other people to have the sleepless nights. So he literally said the buck stops here. The decision was made solely by me, and that's why he always had on his desk the buck stops here. The fact that he's the guy who made that decision, and he has to live with the repercussions of that. And and obviously it stops the war, and thousands and thousands of lives are ultimately saved because of that. And we go into a great time for America following that. A lot of growth, following World War II for America.
And a lot of lives are going to be lost, Akeley. I mean, we weren't going to beat the Japanese for a while. Like that,
Right.
that
it
was
would have
later on
been
the
years.
Japanese
They were not
so
going to give
tough.
up.
Yeah, they were so tough. I mean, it wasn't going to happen like the
Right.
Germans.
Well, when you can get with kamikazes, where they literally are going in to crash their plane into your things, when they're going to die.
They refused to surrender. I mean,
Right.
He made a tough decision.
He did. So
He's a hard man, truly.
Yeah.
Hard.
I'm glad he drank some bourbon then.
Yep.
Yeah. So our whiskey drinkers are a pretty good bunch of presidents, so I'll say that. So maybe we need more of them drinking whiskey because it's a pretty good list here. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so it's kind of the who's who of American presidents. So it's pretty cool thing for sure. So there you go. All right, well, we'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Darren, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at the Bourbon Ventures, also at the ABV Barrel Shop, where I might be teaching a cocktail class coming up about how famous people like to drink their whiskey.
Okay.
This conversation just kind of gave me that idea, and I think that'd be a fun little make everyone's different cocktails and talk about it. I think that's going to be a fun one. So
All right.
be on the lookout for that.
That sounds good. Luke, how about you?
You can find us at Santa Fe Boutique Wines on Instagram, and you can find me on LinkedIn.
All right. Next up is Royce.
Oh, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Neely Family Distillery or NeelyFamilyDistillery.com.
Miss Beka Sue.
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Miss Beka Sue, 1K, no C's.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. I think it's going to be abvnetwork.com. Check it out. Everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. Come by and see us. The ABV Barrel Shop, the place where you can try before you buy. We're online, abvbarrelshop.com. Miss Beka Sue, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd just like to remind our audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. If you like what we're doing with us, you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. For our audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Hi, y'all.
All right.
Later.
Good night.
Peace. Before we let you go, let's talk about one last thing. The ABV Barrel Shop in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on a couple of things. First of all, single barrels. We are the place where single barrels live. We go to distilleries, taste through the whiskey, select the best barrel, and have it shipped to our store where we present it to you, our customers, by allowing you to try before you buy. We're also known for the classes that we have in our education center in the store, as well as the events we have with industry professionals from the bourbon business. If you are in the St. Louis area, please come by and visit us at 6 Fox Valley Center in Arnold, Missouri. Or at a minimum, at least sign up for our email and text distribution so you know exactly what's going on in our shop over at abvbarrelshop.com. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.